Their eyes dug into me like so many knives, and I froze just past the threshold and I swallowed. Good morning. I hope you slept well. Remembered him, Okita. Perhaps it was because I was surrounded by strange men, but it was somehow comforting to see a face I recognized. A very cute face I recognized. Even if it was the face of a rather frightening man who was almost certainly willing and able to kill me. Well, it wasn't particularly comfortable. Chose my words carefully. Really? His face twisted sideways into a grin. 'Cause when I went to have a look at you earlier, you didn't budge no matter what I poked. Wait, what? Okita's grin widened as my face turned red. Saito rolled his eyes. He's only teasing you, so Soji didn't go anywhere near your room. Quite silent, I stared at Okita. With his grin still playing about his face, he glanced over at Saito. I just wanted to see you squirm a little. Very nice of you, Hajime, calling me out like that. I don't think Saito did anything wrong. You, on the other hand... Shut it. You sound like a bunch of kids. Hijikata's voice brooked no further insubordination. Okita shrugged and was silent. Oops, jumped that. So, Hijikata is your witness? Oh, hey! Everyone else, alright, game on. The man who spoke was, well, looked more like a boy than a man. I'd imagined the leaders of the shinsengumi to be old, or at least middle-aged men, but they all looked quite young. In fact, they all looked rather like a group of young thugs. A group of pretty young thugs. He's a real stick, huh? Just a kid? That was Todo. Yes. On our way from my bed, Inoue had given me a brief description of the people I was about to meet. Supposedly, Tudo was the youngest captain in the shinsengumi. You're calling him a kid, Heisuke? That's rich. He chuckled as he spoke, but the way he looked at me suggested that there was little he missed, despite his humor. Right you are, and anybody else, I'll bet the two of you just look like another pair of scrawny little brats. Oh, that's probably the man across from him. The man across from him nodded with brows drawn, as if he was quite serious about the subject. However, I remember Inoue telling me that the two of the men in particular were somewhat immature, to put it nicely. He had said the one with short hair was Nagakura, bing, background, and the other, with the longer, red hair, was Harada. Sakura Harada. Leave off, you grumpy old bastards. Hell I will, boy. You think you can get away with talking to us like that? Besides, I'm hardly mature enough to be called old, Shinpachi maybe, but not me. You son of a bitch, I thought we were friends. Come on, Shin. Would an adult get so worked up over something like that? They're back and forth with the feel of a routine that long predated my arrival, but they couldn't quite hide the odd inquisitive glance in my direction. I could sense something other than simple curiosity, though. A feeling of animosity or resentment, perhaps. Despite their cheerful levity, they had not forgiven my presence among them. Suddenly, I wanted very much to go home. I wanted to leave that place and never return. My chest tightened, and I looked down at the floor, hoping that I might wake up at home in my bed. I apologize for all of this frightening behavior. Please, don't give them the pleasure of unsettling you. Hello? His voice was calm and warm, and I felt myself relax, even if only a little. Are you serious? You're the scariest of all of us, Sinan. There was the faintest trace of a smirk on Hijikata's lips. As he finished speaking, the rest of the men nodded solemnly in agreement. I found it hard to believe that this man could be as scary as they all seemed to think. Oh, how crude. I can understand their feelings, but that even our demon of a commander would think so? The man called Sinan smiled as he spoke and leaned back, his riposte delivered. Hijikata said nothing, but his own smile did not leave his face. You're lucky to have a friend like Sinan, Toshi. Hijikata and Sinan had sounded so cold when they'd spoken to one another. Not what I would have called friendly. Still, the man who'd spoken had certainly sounded as though he were thought they were friends. Ah, my apologies, I haven't introduced myself. I'm Isami Kondu, chief of the shinsengumi. Most important man in the shinsengumi, then. Toshi over there is the commander, and Sanan is our colonel. Ah, Kondu. Why are you telling him all this? Him. Okay, so we're still in the clear for right now, or at least unclear. We're in the unclear right now. Why? Do you think it's a bad idea? Oh god, which one's Nagakura? This kid to know all your secrets. Maybe you should keep your mouth shut. Exactly! Why bother anyway? We don't know this kid nothing. Excuse me. Harada glanced over at Kondu and let out a bark of laughter. True, but it's not like telling him will hurt us. Kondu had looked rather disappointed when Hijikata spoke, but he perked up at Harada's words. Scarcely known him for 5 minutes, but already you could see that he was well liked by his men. He had that sort of charisma that simply drew you in. A man who was impossible to hate. Well, let's get back to the business at hand. Can you run us through what happened last night? Kondu's glance moved to Saito, who gave a small nod and began to speak. Last night we were on patrol and we encountered some wandering Ronin. They drew steel, so we fought. Some of our men subdued the Ronin, but in doing so, exposed their failure. As he finished, Saito turned to look at me. I swallowed and forced my mouth to open. I didn't see nothing. I didn't see nothing about no one. Hijikata softened a little in my response, but Saito remained expressionless. The smile on Okita's face didn't change. Huh, you sure you didn't see anything? Yeah, I didn't see nothing. Nothing about no one. Don't touch me. Hope that if I said enough times, they might start to believe me. Really? Oh, that's true? I don't see what the problem is. Hold on a minute, I thought Soji said you had helped our men or something. No, it's not true. Glanced over at Okita, but his smile still hadn't changed. Whatever he was thinking was a mystery to me. I was running away from the Ronin, and some people with shinsengumi uniforms showed up. Really, they sort of rescued me. Huh, that means you saw them slicing up those Ronin, right? Maybe. Couldn't exactly deny that. But I knew that if I just shut up then, they'd know for sure I was lying. So, in other words, you actually saw everything. Saw the whole ugly business. I was completely at a loss. You've got an honest heart. It's not really a bad thing, but... I wasn't sure what to make of Harada's words. My presence had not been a good thing for the shinsengumi. Would their next words be the ones that condemned me to death for being in the wrong place at the wrong time? Drama. God, she's so dramatic. My voice shook, but I knew I had to try. I won't tell anyone, I promise. I won't tell nobody nothing. It seems unlikely this attack was mere chance. Then again, I have no reason to think you're an enemy either. Even if you do not intend to tell anyone, you could be captured, interrogated. I doubt you could withstand torture. His voice was still warm, but his words were cold, and I began to feel my chances at life slip away. Bye, life. Nice knowing you. It's easy enough to stay quiet, but if someone should try to coerce you, no reason to keep our secrets. We don't have any kind of guarantee that you'll keep your word. Wouldn't be very smart to just let you go. True. Point made. Let's just kill the kid. You want to keep someone quiet? It's the only sure way. I looked desperately at Kondu, who gave Okita a reproving look. Don't be so cold, Soji. What do we gain by murdering a civilian? Okita's smile disappeared and we looked down at the floor. Oh, don't give me that look. I was just kidding. Then perhaps it should have sounded like it. Oh, wait, that's Soji. Excuse me, I get my purples mixed up. There's the guy in the purple shirt, and this is the guy with the purple hair. I got him confused. Okita made an attempt at a derisive snort and looked intently at a wall, his face slightly red. Well, surely there must be something we can do after all. We're talking about a child. I've no wish to kill him either, but we can't discount the chance that he could reveal information about us. San paused for a moment, his brows furrowed, then turned to Hijikata. I would like to hear the commander's opinion. With the responsibility of his position invoked, Hijikata had no choice. He sighed and glanced around the room. Last night we had to kill some men who broke the code. This kid was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I imagine you mean to say that... And I imagine you mean to say that's all there is to it? Well, he probably saw something. But I doubt he really understands what it was. Even so, this is serious. We've got bigger things to think about. We've got to keep this under wraps. Rumors get out that the soldiers of Shinsengumi are thirsty for blood. That would be problematic. Shinpachi's words made sense, and they all knew it. Hijikata's face looked grim. I think Soji has a point. Still, I'd do whatever Hijikata and Kondo told me to do. I think we gotta let him go. Let the kid go. Oh, Toto looked troubled. It's not like he knows we're why is there nuts, you know? Wait, what did he mean by that? To be honest, I hadn't really thought about it. Hijikata saw my eyes go wide, and I saw his narrow. I flicked to Toto. Shut it, Heisuke. No sooner were the words out of Hijikata's mouth than Toto clapped both hands over his own. Uh-oh, well, this is gonna make it even harder for us to just let you go. Oh dear. Man should always be ready to face death. You should make peace with yours. Man. Oh! Hey, thought I was a boy! With everything else that had happened, I'd completely forgotten how I was dressed. I could abuse my gender roles and reveal that I am a woman, that they cannot kill me because of that. Perhaps. Very true, brave death is always an option. When I was young, I committed honorable suicide. Damn. Although it didn't really stick, did it, Sano? Oops. Their jokes barbaric. But they both broke into raucous laughter at them. Saito did his best to ignore them. Hijikata, since we can't seem to reach a consensus, can I send the child back to his room? As he spoke, Saito turned to look at me. If you hear something, you shouldn't while you're there. If you hear something you shouldn't while you're here, then we'll have no choice but to kill you. He was right. If I remained with them, then I could easily hear something I wasn't supposed to. I didn't think he'd mentioned it for my sake, only as a possible concern for the shinsengumi, but I was still glad he brought it up. True. Can you take care of him? Saito nodded. I agree. There are too many careless men here. Am I eyeballing you? Come on, Sanan. What are you looking at me for? That ought to be pretty obvious. We're in charge of being careless, especially you, Heisuke. Woo! Hey, back off. It was just a mistake, right? I could hear Toto's voice rise as everyone turned to look at him. He looked at them for a bit, then turned to me and mumbled in a voice I could barely hear. I'm sorry. Me too? I'm still afraid I was about to die, so I couldn't bring myself to tell him no harm had been done, but he looked as though he'd meant what he said, so I gave him an awkward nod. It was the most I could manage. Shall we go? Oh, alright. Let's get on with it. Hey, I've got myself a status menu. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got in the status menu stuff. Alright, cool. We can save. I think I should have one save file from looking over stuff. Oh, not even that. Interesting. Good to know. There should actually be a save file there. Oh, maybe I didn't save it. I don't think I did. After they had taken me back to my room, I'd sat there for a long time looking down at my bound heads. My bound hands. Alright, my hands are still bound too, so not much of a position to do anything. Alright, so we've got some... Oh, this is our history, not actual history. We've got an encyclopedia for looking up terms. So there's some Saito, Toto, house. First to the domain or clan that a samurai serves can also be used after a fashion to refer to that specific person a samurai serves. Okay, so house of owner. The samurai is of the house of whoever. There's Sanan. What's a kodachi? Originally a short katana. By the end of the Edo period, it referred to a large wakizashi. It was usually worn as half of a pair with a larger sword, such as a katana. So you'd have your katana, you have your kodachi. 2 swords. A short sword and a longer sword. Protagonist 1. Main character is Tori. She travels to Kyoto in search of her father and consequently finds herself involved with the shinsengumi. So if we want more reading, there's an entire encyclopedia. And then status. Oh, well, here we go. Here's our victims. From low to high. And we're not romantic with any of them. Oh, and it shows a threshold too, right down the middle. That's a good sign. It's a good sign. So we got Hijikata. We've got Okita. We have Saito. We got Tudu! Heisuke. We got Todo. I like that one better than Tudu or Toto. We've got Harada and... those 5 right now. Oh. Do we have more or less? I'm trying to see if L or R hits anything. Can't go left or right. I feel like we're missing a few. But if there's only those 5, then that's totally fine. Because I know there's, what's his butt with the green necklace thing? Whose voice I also haven't nailed down. Got those 2. Cool. And anything left? Title screen, return settings. Cool, excellent. I like the encyclopedia, very rad. They're like, we've got all this history here, we want to make sure that you at least know what's going on. After they had taken me back to my room, I sat there for a time looking down at my bound hands. This is an interesting place to be in. A precarious position for the protagonist.